We all understand the type of climate that we're dealing with. We're dealing with multiple offer situations.
I'd love to know sort of what's your why? What makes you tick? Why are you so successful?
Have a dialogue with your lawyer. Have a dialogue with your agent.
Both sort of passionate about sort of what we do.
Again, vet your agent to make sure that they're experienced and they're local. I like that idea.
No excuse to miss it on Saturdays from 8 to 9.
That's right.
WBZ.
And now, the show that gives you the latest and most relevant housing market news. Real Estate Radio Boston with financial expert Rick Shearer and legal professional Ali Alavi.
For sellers that are contemplating in putting their property on the market, I think the take-home message is do it today.
Right.
Really get your property evaluated. How much is your property worth? Get it staged and get it listed today because you're going to be ahead of the competition. But before you do any of that, get pre-approved. Call 855-4ASK-RICK and get pre-approved. And if you've been pre-approved 2 months ago, the interest rates have dipped. So that has a direct correlation to your buying power, right?
Yeah, you can probably afford, $20,000-$30,000 more just because of interest rate. Keeping the same sort of comfortable monthly payment, interest rates have a big effect on what your purchase power is. So, absolutely. So, again, give us a call at 855-4ASK-RICK and call us, for anything real estate. So, one of the things that we were also able to do is match a couple of listeners up last week with buyer agents in the marketplace. So, listen, in Massachusetts, the bar is relatively low for people to get into becoming a real estate agent. So there's a ton of them. So, we work with the top agents in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. We have them on the radio show. We have them in our arsenals. So, if you're out there and just don't know where to start, start by giving us a call, 855-4ASK-RICK. And for the buyers out there, I have just created a 38-page buyer's handbook, which sort of walks you through the whole process from pre-approval to post-closing and everything in between. So, text the word playbook to 617-548-7425. And, if we pre-approve you, we get you the handbook, the playbook, and we will also match you up with a buyer's agent.
Speaking to the listener that doesn't know what a cap rate is, can you define the cap rate for them, please?
It's just your percentage return without factoring debt service, and it just assumes you bought it all cash, which you don't. It's just a metric for analysis. So if you bought something that was $1 million and it was a 4.5 cap, it'd be $45,000 a year in net income before debt.
Gotcha. And why is 4.5% attractive? I mean, it seems to me that I'd be able to do better on the market.
Well, because you also get benefits owning real estate that you don't get in the marketplace. You have a tangible asset that it's not a piece of paper that if the company goes bankrupt is worth nothing. You get to, as I said, even though these cap rates are calculated based off of a cash acquisition, people do put debt on these, and so you get that mortgage interest is deductible. You get equity appreciation, you've got depreciation, so you have all these other intangibles that you're not going to get.
Everybody wants to own a piece of the planet or a patch of land.
Gotcha.
So I went out and registered patchofland.com, and we just started from that point.
Jason, I hear crowdfunding. I hear sort of a company that facilitates people coming together to be able to pool in their money in order to be able to make investments in various real estate projects. And automatically, I get nervous. Can you at least bust that myth? This is not an illegal type of a thing. It almost sounds like it's securities, but it's not illegal. It's perfectly legal and it's perfectly legitimate.
That's right. It was actually made legal by the Jobs Act of 2012, and specifically Title II of that particular piece of legislation. It was enacted in September 23rd of 2013 by the SEC, that allows general solicitation or public solicitation of securities to become legal within certain restrictions, and that we have to work with accredited investors at this point, although that may change in the future. And that is a common conception that it can be a very risky and dangerous thing. And there's always risk associated with investment, but the wisdom of the crowd is a real thing. If you're putting a particular project, a particular opportunity up for thousands of people to look at it and see, that crowd has an almost supernatural ability to ferret out weaknesses within those particular projects. And it's incumbent upon platforms like ours to make sure that we're highly transparent.
If you were to put it in perspective for our listeners, what was the fee before, and where does the saving lie?
Right. Yeah. Their fee before was, well, depending on their percentage, so they really have that opportunity to save. They can drop from the 1.35 down to a 0.85. So they have a half a point savings in the PMI. So for most people, obviously, depending on their loan amount, I mean, that could be like $100 to $150 right there.
Yeah, just in the dropping of the mortgage, you could keep the same interest rate and drop,
Right.
Over $100 a month.
Wow.
Right.
Just because of the mortgage interest.
Wow.
Right.
And you use the word streamline. What is exactly a streamline, and what are the benefits?
Oh, it's huge benefits. We don't need to do a new appraisal. We don't even need to verify income, so that makes the paperwork process nice and easy.
Right.
Oh,
And
wow.
in most instances, we're covering the bulk of the closing costs, so there's no costs really involved for the client. So it's really, actually, if anybody is in an FHA loan, they should give they should be looking to see if there's an opportunity to save some money.
That's
Yeah.
a no-brainer. So if you purchased the property in the last how many months would you say? 10 months?
No, I would
18, 19 months?
Yeah, I would even see longer than that, because here's what I use when I'm looking to refinance an FHA client is I'll look at it and say, does it make sense? So we just had the client that called last week. We talked about it already, where I'm taking him out of an FHA loan, bringing him to a 15-year fixed, and all as well. But I use that option to look and see, maybe is FHA still the right program for you? And maybe it is. And if it is, then we can do the streamline, the no appraisal, no income verification sort of streamline approach. But they might have the equity now. They might have a good credit, so we can maybe do a lender-paid mortgage insurance.